Hello everyone. I'm going to give an update on where I am with the website, which I've been working on for weeks now. Okay. So I started with my Shopify store, which I've been using for years, just to catch everyone up on what I've been doing. And mainly in 2021, I started having supply issues where certain paper types would be out of stock for the fine art photography, and I would have to update the product listings manually with the paper changes, whether a certain paper type was out of stock or I was changing the paper type because of that. So having over 150 product listings on Shopify, it just caused me to spend so much time micromanaging the website that I got burned out on it. So that's where it started. But the burnout really didn't take place until 2022, when it just became too much of a recurring theme of having to update the product listings and descriptions. And then as I started working with Westcover, the same issue was happening where I would have to manually update the product listings for their website as well. So just the description portion of it, sometimes depending on the paper that I changed to, I would have to change the pricing as well, the sizes that are available for each print. So it just turned into a nightmare, to be honest, to manage the website. And so I decided coming into 2023 that if I was going to keep the store running, I was going to have to find a way to automate the order process where if there were changes in the paper supply, changes in available sizes, dimensions, all of that would change on its own, right? Because I wanted the photography prints to be directly connected to the printer. And so that's where I started for this year. Is I started looking for other web hosts that would connect to my printer, and I would be able to just upload the photography prints, and all of the orders, the inventory changes, all of that would be, managed by the Photo Lab. And I decided to try out SmugMug as the web host, and it didn't work the way that I wanted. Not because of the automation process, that part was fine, but then I started running into issues with the design. Just the design of the website, the styling of it. I wanted to add new features, make it look more like Shopify. But just the design, the software seemed outdated, and I wasn't able to add a lot of the features, just design layout wise, that I wanted to add. So that led me to open a trial subscription out to Zenfolio. I tried that for about a week, and then I realized that the order automation process wasn't going to work the way I needed it to, just because of all the structure, the way the user interface works. It wasn't going to work. So I couldn't copy paste the structure I was using from Shopify or even SmugMug to Zenfolio. So that didn't work. And I did schedule a Zoom meeting with Zenfolio, which was supposed to take place last Wednesday, But they canceled it for unknown reasons. I just got an email saying that the meeting was canceled and they wanted me to reschedule. But by that point, I had did a lot of trial and error on my end and just realized that it wasn't going to work. Okay, so that's where I'm at right now. After the meeting was canceled and I finally conceded that, okay, maybe the automation of the order processing won't work. I started looking at other options. I thought about Fine Art America. I thought about some other print-on-demand options that are out there, and there's plenty of them. But just the design of the websites, the profiles, the presentation was just not where I needed to be. And so then that caused me to go back to Shopify, open up the settings, look at the user interface, and, think about what I could do to make the order process more streamlined. And of course, I ran into a brick wall with that. There was just nothing that I could do to improve it in terms of automation. So that led me to, like I said, this is Shopify. This is the Shopify website. The custom domain name is no longer linked to this, but this is what it looks like. And as you can see, just this is a premium theme. I paid a few $100s to have access to this one, just to buy the theme, and then I customized it, and it took me weeks to get the website to look like this. Just because you have to learn the user interface, learn how all of the features work, figure out what features are available, and I've been using this theme for maybe 2 years. I want to say 2 years. It works really well. I absolutely love everything about the theme. But like I said before, I can't automate the order process. And there are print-on-demand sites that use Shopify, including Fine Art America. But it would change the layout drastically, and that would lower the quality of the presentation to me. So I decided to skip over that. But it's just, I like the look of it. Like, I've gone through here and I've added all the images, the descriptions here. This is the thing that I have to change a lot. So what I decided to do the last time around, I think it was winter 2023, was kind of give more of an open-ended description here where, okay, if you want this paper type, this is the starting price, the sizes it starts at. If you want a different paper type and then you want the amounts, they're optional. Again, that's another starting price. There are so many different paper types that I can't add to this. Well, I can, but it would just take up so much room. So when you come to the drop-down menu, there's a feature there. Just the print size is available, but this is just for one paper type. There are several different products available, and clients aren't able to come to this website, pick out whatever product they want, whatever size they want, whatever added accessories they want, frames, matting, acrylic prints, dye bond backing, etc. Like, there are so many different options available that can't be added here. I felt that as good as the layout is, the website layout is, the the function of the website doesn't work as well as I need it to. It looks great, the function is not there. And then, of course, there's the blog, which I redesigned this like a year or so ago. So everything works, the way I want it to work. It's just really a pain to maintain it because I have to micromanage it so much. But it looks great. Like all of these images here are customized. I have interiors for all of the work, or most of the work. And I don't use a duplicate of the same interior. So each one that has an interior photo with the artwork, none of them are the same. So I've spent countless hours going through this and making sure that this is, everything is unique. So anyway, in short, it's going to be hard to replace this. And like I said before, I ran into a wall with the two web hosts that I tried after Shopify, to where the automated order process wasn't working the way I needed to. So on Friday night, Saturday morning, because I went to sleep kind of late, I decided I would probably go with Fine Art America and link it, the cart and all the prints into Shopify. That was my first thought. And as I was going through that, I didn't like the way it would look. And so then I went back to a printer that I worked with in 2019, 2020. And so let me go ahead and tell the story first. I went back to the printer I worked with in 2019, 2020 because I had exhibitions coming up and I needed the work to look really, really good. And so I decided to frame the work through a printer that's in Germany. And I know that's a long way away from Florida, but after doing a whole bunch of research and contrast printers, I decided to go ahead and work with them because I really liked the presentation of their work, the frames, the mats, the amount of products available. And so, of course, they ship the work over here. The work has to go through customs, that sort of thing, right? So I got the work, had the work on exhibit. Everything worked really well. I asked the printer, like, okay, I want to work with you guys again because I really like the work, but do you drop ship? Can you drop ship orders? And back then, 2019, 2020, they could not drop ship. There was no option available because they're in Germany. The shipments have to go through customs. Through customs, they have to open up everything, check the paperwork, invoices, etc., and then ship it to the art collector. So there was no way for me to white label a shipment through that particular printer in Germany. So I ended up working with a printer in California. But again, 2020, 2021, they were closed like sporadically because of the COVID laws in California. I ended up switching to a printer in Arizona and then tested out a printer in Nevada because, again, all the laws there are different during that time. But it just turned into, it became a bit of a nightmare because the paper types are different. The products available are different, which means I have to go back to my Shopify site, change the descriptions of what's available on each print. And like I said, that became a nightmare. So, but I still did that through 2022, 2023. And then coming into this year, January 2024, I had hit the wall. Like I said, I was burned out, tired. And, but on Saturday, this past Saturday, I was like, well, I don't have another option to um, automate the order process other than using fine art and then integrate the fine art um, user interface into Shopify. And so then I decided to check back on the printer that I work with in Germany and looked at some of my old orders, looked at some of the um, product options they had available. Of course, it's excellent. They just won another award this year for being one of the best printers in the industry. So all of that was good. But I felt like, the drop shipping would be an issue. I would have to have all of the orders shipped to me first. I would have to go through the paperwork, take out the forms that I needed, and then close up the crates or packages and then ship them to the customer, which means that the typical order would take about 2 to 3 weeks from when the print is ordered to when it's shipped to the client or the art collector, which is a very long time for me, to me. Considering the fact that when I'm working with the printer in California, the processing time is like 2 to 3 business days. So to go from 2 to 3 business days to 2 to 3 weeks is a jump. So yeah. But anyway, I was looking on the printer's website, and again, they're in Germany. And then I stumbled on, I don't even know how I got to the page, but it was like you can link a token to another website to link the two of them together. And so I'm like, what are they talking about? So I did a bunch of clicking and followed the rabbit hole, and I'll show you guys where I ended up eventually. So this is where I ended up. This is another web host. I've never heard of them. I've never heard of them, but they are listed on the printer's website as a partner. They've created a partnership with them, and so I can get the products from the Germany printer. I can have those drop shipped now, but there's like a middleman in between, right? And I'm assuming that they resolved the whole customs issue, right? So that my work can actually be drop shipped without having the shipments come to me first. And then I have to close back up the packaging and reship it out to the client. So I went through my testing yesterday, because on the first two sites, those first two web hosts I tried, other than Shopify, for the automation process for ordering, like I said, it didn't work. And so this time I decided to just upload. At the time, I uploaded maybe 4 photographs, and I went through the entire process from designing the website, designing the product page, creating the price list, shipping profiles, all that type of stuff. As before, I just uploaded a bunch of stuff and I thought that everything was just going to run smoothly. This time around on Saturday, I ended up just uploading 4 prints and running through the entire process with those 4. And mainly with this one, Emulate, which is one of my favorites. And so I was thinking, okay, if it works with this particular photograph, like from the design standpoint to the automation standpoint, then I'll upload everything else, which is how I should have approached this the first time around, the first couple of times around, but I didn't do that. This time around, I was much more patient in my approach. Now, here's how this is set up. And the website is live. The custom domain name is not active as yet. I'm still in the process of transferring it over. So the website link is gonna look a little weird. But so this one is actually finished. This one. So what you see here is a check mark, which is add to selection. But then you also see the little shopping cart icon where the print is actually available. So what I can do on here is I'm adding the work that's ready, and you'll see a little add to selection option or icon here. Now, these that you don't see the shopping cart on, they're not ready for print. I still have to set up the shipping profiles and all that type stuff in the on the back end. I'm still building the website basically, but in the process of doing that, I'm adding the work and I'm looking at the layout. I'm not really going too much into the web design as yet, but I've tested it out enough to know okay, this is what I can do and what I can't do. I'm still learning and reading about the user interface and how it works. So that was a lot of my Saturday. Was once I figured out I could use this site, I was doing a lot of reading, a lot of learning the user interface to see, okay, can I put all of my work here, realistically put it all here? And I think the last thing I did before I dozed off early Sunday morning was I finally figured out how to make the homepage this full image, where it's like a full bleed slideshow, which is really cool. And I think the mobile version of this is really nice as well, because the vertical prints, they show up really well on there. But anyway, okay, so for example, here's the one that's ready. I can't tell you what this star means over here. There's a star icon. I don't know what that's for. I really don't. So you click on there. You come to, this is the page. And it's basically a carousel. Okay, I pressed the wrong thing. So on this, there's a print button up here near the top right hand corner. And then up here, there's image info. This is where the title of the work, the description, all this stuff goes here. Here's all the keywords, which the keywords I'm copy and pasting from the previous site and bringing them over here. And then there's a share button with all the social media, and then there's an email option as well, so that's cool. So for the ones that are available for print, there will be a print icon up here. And then for the ones that are not available for print, you can add it to selections, which there's a selections option up here. But that's just like a favorites folder. Like if you see something that you like, which is completely separate from if you're gonna add something to a cart to purchase it. So I look at the selections button as more like a wish list, maybe something like that. But anyway, so if you click on print, this is really what I needed my Shopify store to have, which is, this is the fine art print, and a little description. This is the Hahnemühle paper, which is German. It's a German paper type. But it's very popular. It's on the expensive end, but people like it, especially if you don't want a lot of reflection on the photograph as far as the glare. So this is more like a fiber type of paper. So you have the Hanemule, you have the Canson, you have inches from 12 by 8 to 60 by 40. And then, of course, since the printer is in Germany, I also decided to include the dimensions in centimeters that are available. They're pretty much the same. Like a 12 by 8 would be your 30 by 20 centimeters, and then your 60 by 40 inch would be your 150 by 100 centimeters. So I made sure on the back end that these, for the most part, line up, but not always, but for the most part, they do. And then down here, this is not my photograph. The web host has their own set of photos in here that are generated. I think there's about 3 of them. So depending on what size you choose, this photograph can be different. So if you change it to a 60 by 40 inch, it's going to change to this. I think somewhere in the middle, it's different. 24 by 16. Okay, you're going to have like a seat or a couch by itself and some tables there. So I feel like that's pretty cool, right? No, I don't have control over these, I don't think. But it gives clients an idea of the size of the work depending on what size they select. So if you change this, it's going to change in the interior in real time. So that's a cool feature that, again, is not on my old website. And then here are your paper types. Again, the Hanemule. There's 3 different types of those. For me, I would probably go pearl if I was to use one, but it's just up to you, of course. And then there's a description of all the different paper types. This one's warm and bright. The torch on, and see how much texture is in this paper? And it's a lot of texture in there. And then the other thing, you can order it without a border, or with 1 or 2 centimeter white border on it. And then the price here just gets updated by itself. So all this stuff I have to create templates for, so that depending on the print, everything as far as pricing information, sizes, and all that, it uploads correctly or shows correctly. And yeah, so this is just the beginning, right? This is I tested out this product. There's about 12 to 14 different products I can probably add to this list. And then they all have different options on their own. But I just started with this one particular category, which was the fine art print category. But there's, like I said, 12 to 14 other options that can be added. So I'm going to go through each product grouping or product category and see which ones I want to add, which ones are going to get left out. Because I know, like, there's also, you can have the photographs printed directly on wood, and I just don't like how it changes the color on on the photography. So that one's probably gonna get left out for sure. But there's definitely different options. They do have the face-mounted acrylic prints available, which I couldn't get on the previous site either. Those are definitely gonna get added. But like I said, it's gonna take me time to create the templates, because I have about 33 different templates, and I have to fill in the details, make sure I fill in all the details properly. Because what's going to happen is when someone comes here and they say they click add to cart, the orders are not going to come to me. It's going to go directly to the printer. So it's going to go directly to the printer, and everything's automated, right? So I'm taking myself out of the equation, you know. Um oh, and the other thing that I spent most of yesterday, Sunday afternoon, like, because there's like tax forms and all kinds of stuff with on the back end to make sure that depending on what state, what country you're in, like what the charges will be, and then there's custom fees in certain places. And I think there's one more profile I'm gonna have to add, which in some countries they don't allow drop shipping. I think 90 to 95% of it's of places are gonna allow drop shipping, but there's gonna be a small percentage that don't allow drop shipping. Those orders are going to have to come to me first, and I'm going to have to go through all the paperwork, take out everything that needs to be taken out, as far as forms, and then close the packaging back up and forward the shipment to the client. But I still think that this is the best option that I have, for sure. So that's the whole process. And I know some of you are worried about the price point because Emulate, I captured this last year, so it's on the more expensive end. As I stated before, there are plenty of art pieces, art prints that are more budget friendly and less expensive. So I do have my work categorized in tiers. The ones that are more up to date, like from the past 2 to 3 years, they're going to be on the more expensive end. And then the ones that are especially, let's say 2013, they're going to be on the less expensive end, like much less expensive, because those prints I'm not going to publish in the high profile magazines. They're not going to be on exhibit at galleries. They're just in the inventory. But enough people have liked them over the years. Like, let's take automobiles, for example. Quite a few people still like this one, and they've asked me to, keep it in the inventory because for a long time it wasn't there anymore. Like, once a print gets so old or so dated, I just decided to take it out and replace it with something newer, right? Because I was constantly taking more photographs, and I couldn't let the inventory get so big on the website that I couldn't manage it the way I need to, because of I had to micromanage all the orders, the supply issues and whatnot. So I couldn't let the inventory get but so big. And even then it still turned out to be a problem. But things like this, it's going to be much less expensive. I would say that prints in this, from that time frame, are going to be like $40 to $50, depending on, that's where it's going to start. But if you select something that's here, that's more up to date, it's definitely going to be more expensive. Actually, this one, Emulate, is the most expensive print I have in my collection to date, and it's also the most recent one that I have. So yeah, this one scares people the most. And then you'll look through everything else, and the prices are gradually going to come down. I would say, because I've already categorized my work, which is why I found that I was going to end up with about 250 prints in the inventory. Like if I expand it the way that I want to, um, out of the 250, I would say 25 to 30 prints are going to be on the very expensive end, and everything else is going to be much less expensive. The 25 to 30 prints, most of them are in showcase. So you'll come here, you'll see about 20 prints. And this particular page is literally for curators, gallery owners, high profile publications. This is the type of work that I'm marketing to them. This is the page that I direct them to. The same thing when you can have portfolio reviews, people judging your work. I'm going to direct them to this page, right? So this is for them. Now, everyone else, especially those of you locally who have said, Eric, your prices are high. We need something more affordable. I have a whole line of work that I'm continuing to add here. This is another one where this is from 2009. And I really did get some good feedback just from people in general that have looked at my work. And there'll be like common prints that people will always pick out. And then I thought, okay, this is not a new print anymore. I'm not going to charge a premium price for it. But people still like it. So I will include it on the website. And again, since I'm moving into the order process being automated, all the inventory is going to be managed by the printer themselves. I can go ahead and add as much work as I want and not have to worry about micromanaging each product listing or each print listing. Because if there's a paper that's out, that's not available, or that's out of stock, then that option is just not going to be available. I believe that's how it works. So the only thing that I'm really going to have to do in terms of managing the orders is on damage product in returns. Excuse me. So that's the biggest thing. But in terms of the look of the website, this is fine. I've looked at some features that I can dig into to probably tweak this a little bit, but overall it's not bad. And then with the other web hosts that I've seen, I've definitely seen a lot worse. So, yeah. The contact page is also here. The form is there, so that's great. With the other web hosts I was using, they didn't have a literal, like a contact page template for me to use. I'm not building any of these websites from scratch. I'm not. And to be honest, I don't know too much about HTML code or CSS. But it's like I know enough to learn how to manipulate things and learn how the user interface works. So there's that. This template was here already, and I just added a photo. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this page and just create a pop-up for the newsletter prompt, but it's fine. The blog, I have not done anything with this page yet. I'm gonna have to figure out how it works for sure. But this is all text and images and an image from the template. The about page, I tweaked this yesterday, and I'm actually going to change out this photo. The statement page, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it because all it is, like usually I would put the statement over on the about page. Unless I decide to have a more descriptive artist statement. The other things I have to add, the CV page is missing, so I have to add all of this. And this is just a list of my, like it starts back in 2004. The galleries, I started in Fort Lauderdale, which was my hometown, in 2005, and I just kept showing my work over the years. And I think 2020, 2021, everything slowed down. 2023, I did a few things. And then this year, I've definitely taken time off from exhibitions. So I have to create this page on a new site. The other page I have to create is for creative writing. So this is the book, poetry collections book. So it's basically 3 collections of poetry in one. So the 3 collections I published, self-published over the years, I combined them all, and so they're into this. They're in this one book because the cover for all of them seemed outdated. So I wanted to update that, tweak the book layout a little bit. So there's that. But all of these are, like it says, short stories, screenplays, some flash fiction, short scripts, and then I have the children's book I did from 2015, which I don't promote a lot because it didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted it to. So I'm thinking that I'm going to give this concept over to the professionals. Like not giving the copyright away, but having illustrators work on it and then get into story development. But yeah, just the story, the illustration, I did all this myself in Photoshop. But I feel like it looks exactly the way I want it to look. As far as the character and like little simple illustrations like this. But as far as the world building, the environment type stuff, I really need someone else to do that. But that was my attempt at that. But yeah, so again, I want to automate the order process for the fine art photography so that I can focus more on my other projects, because my other projects have just been on the back burner for years now, essentially, because I've had to micromanage the photography so much. So I definitely want to get away from that. And yeah, I've been writing a lot of stuff. The X-Men screenplay, it's 199 pages. This is back from 2009, which is where I started. Like I was writing before that, but not like screenplays on like seriously focusing on them. But yeah, that's where it started. So what else is there? The publications page. I do have an idea for this one, to where on the new site, I can actually build a carousel of images to show like publication covers and stuff like that. So I'm thinking that, oh, well, more so gallery exhibitions, like the footage from the gallery exhibitions. I can probably put that on the CV. I think that would be nice to see. You know, like my work, actual photographs of my work in the real world. Um, that would be really, really nice to see. So yeah, the CV, the creative writing page, the publications page. I have to fix the blog. Um, on the about page, this is the photograph I want to use because I took this last year, so it's not that old. I just need another one. I want to keep this one, but add another one. Maybe 2 or 3 more with this one. Different outfit, of course. Stuff like that, but yeah. Because I do want to replace this one. This is dated. And then, of course, the old contact page, there's the form. The custom email address I had, that one's got discontinued. So, yeah, I'm using a Gmail account right now. And then my partnership with Westcover is still active. It's still active. But it's not linked to my Shopify page anymore. So everything's based on inquiry. If I have interest from here. And of course, not everything is on here. I scaled this back quite a bit because there was over 150 prints on here. Somewhere around there. Like, well, it was over 100 for sure. So I scaled it back. I might scale it back more because I'm still gonna have to manually update the product descriptions on here. And actually, I'm because I'm working with a new web host, I don't think it's gonna sync anymore. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go back and manually relist the products, the prints that are going to be available on here. And of course, it's not going to be all of them, but I think the top 25 to 30 for sure will be here. And then if I notice that some of these are getting good, like solid traffic, I'll keep them as well. But yeah, the item details, this is what I would have to change for sure. But they've been really patient with me during my transition. But they have a lot of work that they're promoting. And I noticed that they tend to feature products with the actual photographs of what's being sold. So that's the next thing after I finish or get close to finishing the new website. I'm gonna have to order as many samples as I can. and then take some actual photographs of those and use those for promoting my work on here. But yeah, see, all these are actual product shots. But yes, for Westcover, there's a creator application. Or if you have a solid presence on social media like Instagram, then they will reach out to you and ask you to fill out an application. Which is why, like your social media channels, your website, everything has to look just on brand consistently, because then you'll have people coming in, companies coming in, partners, potential partners approaching you, and to have your work on their website or in their marketplace. So, speaking of which, so my Instagram, I cleaned it up quite a bit. I had hundreds of posts on here, and everything was about art. Like nothing was like just a random other subject for the most part. But I just decided to turn it into, for the most part, a portfolio page, and so I've been cleaning it up quite a bit. And I'm probably gonna clean it up more, so that this can basically be a portfolio feed for my small business. So, but the most recent stuff that you see, except for this one's probably gonna go. It's just gonna be about the art, photography, and writing. And then what I'll do is create a personal page for all of my random whatever it is I want to talk about. I'm going to change this back to the logo. Because my logo, you can see it here quite a bit. So yeah, my post from 20 hours ago was just telling people about the website. And I've just been giving my updates on Instagram about my progress or lack thereof with the finding the right web host for the order automation process. So but again, like I said before, with Instagram, I don't get a lot of engagement. The only way I can tell that there's a lot of people paying attention to my profile is when I post stories. Because when I go to stories, you can see who has looked at your stories. Like they're, for the most part, like their profiles will be shown in the analytics. And there's quite a few people that look at my profile, but they don't respond. So, and it's kind of weird because I can post something in stories, and like within 5 or 10 minutes, I start getting views, and I'm like, well, okay, they're there, but they're not engaging in the feed, right? So when I'm going through my feed and I'm looking at one or no likes, 2 likes, no likes, 2 likes, 3 likes, one like, and I'm like, they're not responding to really responding to the feed at all. But they're looking at all of my stories, and so then I decided to create the little stories highlight here and just post more stories. I'm not entirely sure how, if the algorithm has something to do with that, or I'm not sure. But I just find that weird. And again, I cleaned up the reels. This is actually my work in real life. And I know the video quality is a little not great. It's fuzzy. It's kind of pixelated. But this gallery is in, or was in, Bristol, UK. I think Bristol is what? Not too far south from London. Was Bristol, UK. And yeah, I shipped my work over there. It did well. It did well. Unfortunately, this was before the the catastrophe happened of the pandemic. And this gallery ended up closing. It just everything was on lockdown, and especially small businesses, they can't sustain. Especially you have a brick and mortar venue. It was just pretty much impossible to sustain revenue. So that was sad, but the gallery owner, curator, she sent me some video of the work on display. And this is the other one. This one actually sold. It's from the Water series. And yeah, and again, like for me, I think that my work looks better in print, like in physical print, than it does on the screen on a monitor. So I definitely have to order some more prints and take the actual photographs of them, because they look, they look great. But as I've said before, some of the papers that I like to use, and then I have to print them at a bigger size, it can get expensive. So what I wanted to do this year is pay off some of the business debt. Actually pay off quite a bit of the business debt, like bringing my overhead down, and then going into June and into the fall, I would start looking at, okay, where am I going to market? Where am I going to enter competitions and exhibitions and those types of things? So but yeah. But the good news is that I feel like I have a better idea of how I want to design the promotional material. I feel like I have a better idea with that. But first, I have to do the boring stuff first. I have to do the boring stuff first. I have to make sure that everything's set up on the back end for the prints, and make sure that no matter what print options someone selects, that everything works properly. Everything has to work properly. Golly. And this is another favorite. What really helped though is why I made the point with Instagram, like with feedback. I didn't add this back into the inventory online until I posted it on Instagram one day, and people were like, "Oh, I really like that," and I kept getting that over and over again. Or I would go out and I would show my portfolio to someone, and they would pick something that was old, and they're like something that I created in 2013 or something, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is my favorite." So I'm like, oh my gosh. And I kept running into that. And I'm like, this means that I'm going to have to add a lot of the old favorites back onto the website. How am I going to manage all of this? Like, literally, how am I going to manage all this? Because I can't micromanage all these prints, right? And so that's when the automation idea came to mind. It's just that I had to find the perfect setup so that I like the printer, I like the web host, I like the web design or the design layout on the website. I had to like everything. Otherwise, one of those things is going to bother me. And I'm going to look for improvements or better options, right? So, like I said, over the weekend, this past weekend, I finally feel like this is what I'm going to stick with. And like I said, I ran through the options yesterday as far as the order processing options, and everything cleared. I didn't run into any issues with the shopping cart or categorizing the work on the back end within the website settings, all that type stuff. I didn't run into anything. So I feel like I've done enough reading and done enough testing that, okay, this can work. Now with the web design part of it, again, I will continue to experiment, but I feel like I feel like this is in a pretty good place. Now there's other templates, like just completely different templates I can use. But I'm going to go into that later because once my Shopify subscription ends in about 3 weeks, that new website has to be ready because I'm going to not come back to this one. I'm not coming back to this one. So the subscription has to close here on Shopify, and I have to replace it with the new site here. And the monthly price is about the same. It's about the same. It can be like the e-commerce subscription can be a little bit expensive for folks, but for what I needed to do, it's well within my budget, obviously, but it works the way that I need it to. So there's that. Okay. So, oh, and the sun's going down. All right. So, that is my update. I do have my design information that came in the mail recently, which is another issue of Elle Decor. So I'm going to look at that because the style of my work has to improve, and I'm always looking at improving. I don't know how much work I'm going to create this year because I'm basically trying to recover from the past couple years with my budget and whatnot. But I'm definitely looking at current design trends, the type of artwork that curators are selecting, there's always artwork in magazines like this, like Elle Decor, because I mean everyone needs art. But if your work doesn't fit the style that they're looking for, then your work won't get selected to be in the interiors that they're featuring. So that's something that I'm looking at. Now, of course, I have to be careful because I don't want to copy paste other creatives' style, but I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can I take where my style is right now and integrate some of the more contemporary approaches into that. So that's going to be a lot of trial and error, and I need free time to just explore a lot of different approaches and see what I come up with. I definitely do have ideas in mind, but like I said, I need the time and energy to to actually get into all of that and see what I come up with. And so I will close with, I did over the past weekend pay off 2 major pieces of business equipment that I was paying on per month. So those are going to be out the way. I'm going to do a sweep over everything again for this month, the month of May. So then by June, I'm hoping it's I'm hoping that everything is free and clear. Like I've got a lot more breathing room. But yeah, it's just anything that's like a monthly payment that's going out the door. I've been the last 6 months or so, I've been cutting all this stuff out and getting rid of those payments. And I'm making a point now of like the second monitor that I got a few weeks ago. No payments on I'm buying everything outright so that there is no interest on top of it or anything like that. I'm just buying everything outright now. So in the long run, everything is going to work out better this way. So any questions that you guys have, continue to send me direct messages because I do get your DMs on Instagram. Yeah, I think most of it has been direct messages on Instagram. I'm not even gonna argue about the engagement on social media. I just appreciate people still following, right? And also appreciate the subscribers, a few new subscribers on YouTube. I've been noticing that the views and the engagement I get on the YouTube channel are more so for the interior stuff that I like. So it doesn't even have to be my work. It's just things that I see that inspire me. I can share that. So I think that for the long form videos, I can actually go to different showrooms, grab a bunch of footage, turn those into long form videos instead of just using them as shorts, and share that with you guys as well, because I like spending my Saturdays a lot of times just going to RH, going to Scan Design. There's so many different interior design showrooms around. So I'm actually compiling a list of showrooms that I can visit and looking at how I can put together videos and present those for the YouTube channel, because like I said, those seem to be the ones that are by far just getting the most engagement. So I don't want to create content just to cater to the audience, but because I want to do something that I like doing. But I have to do something that I like doing that people are actually going to respond to. So I like going to showrooms, and people seem to be responding to that the most right now. So like I said, I'm just starting locally first, of where I can go and visit and go from there and see how that goes for the actual the video feed. For right now, I'm still posting all the interior design content I have on Shorts because that's what I have available. Like, I've got a bunch still left to post, and those have been doing fairly well. Is that the only thing that's going to go in the Shorts feed? No, because I don't want to get stuck just trying to get a lot of views on certain things. I just want to post things that I like and see how people respond to it, right? But if I don't get a lot of views on certain content, that's okay. I still want to put things out there that I want to share. If there's a lot of people that are on the same wagon as me, great, but I don't put that expectation on each piece of content that I put out there, because that just, stress. It causes stress. It's not fun to do that anymore with these wanting every piece of content to possibly go viral. It's like I don't want to approach it like that. So but yeah, just posting things that I like consistently that fits under the umbrella of the brand. So I took down videos that don't fit under the brand specifically, and I'm gonna put those on their own channel. So there's gonna be a separate channel for certain things that I talked about before, especially sports. That's gonna be on a separate channel, and the YouTube channel for the fine art photography, the creative writing, it's just everything is gonna be geared towards that. And like I say, the other stuff I want to talk about, that's going to be on a different channel, and I will probably share that with you guys when I clean the channel up, because it does exist, but I haven't used that channel in years. So I have to see what it looks like. Figure out how I want to brand it, and that'll be the YouTube channel just for my personal stuff. And then also, again, I want to create a channel like that, or a page like that, profile for Instagram. Because again, for Instagram, I took down hundreds of posts. And probably half of that was just stuff that could go on my personal channel or feed on IG. So that's it. But yeah, thank you guys for the support, and I'm gonna continue to work on the website. In terms of the work that's ready is already posted on the new website. I have to fill in all the descriptions, titles, create more pricing sheets, a lot more pricing sheets. And that's going to take me easily the rest of this week for sure. And maybe going into next week, depending on how my progress goes this week. But yeah, thank you guys for following, and I will see you next time. Take care.